In this short video, I'm going to demonstrate a concept, a phenomenon that often happens with CMOS, digital integrated circuits. What we're looking at here is a microcontroller, the Texas Instruments MSP430, and in this microcontroller, a student has a program entered into it. The content of the program itself, the function, is not really that important to understand. All you need to know is that the program is looking at the statuses of 3 of these input pins to control an LED. The student entered the program and then noticed this. By touching some of those pins, he could get that light to turn on and off randomly. This was unexpected. His intention is to wire those inputs up to push-button switches where he can precisely control their input states, but he just found out that touching the pins would do something like this and was wondering why. This again is a CMOS chip. It uses MOSFET transistors internally, and when the microcontroller is configured for input status on these pins, it acts the same as any other sort of inputs on a CMOS digital logic gate, which is to say, if you have these lines connected to nothing at all, they are susceptible to being activated by static electricity. Or in this case, if I bridge between the 3.3 volt pin and the other pins, I will force a high state through the resistance of my skin. In other words, a floating CMOS input is liable to go to some unpredictable random logic state, maybe high, maybe low, depending on atmospheric conditions, any nearby electrostatically charged objects, or any high resistance pathways that might exist between the input pins and the power supply rails. So the lesson here is you do not leave the inputs of a CMOS logic gate or a CMOS microcontroller floating. You do that, you get random results. So the fix here is to have either pull up or pull down resistors that will connect to these pins individually and go either to plus V or ground to give each one of those pins separately a defined logic state when nothing else is connected to it. And that way you eliminate these random behaviors.